birds flying high. You know how I feel. Sun in the sky. You know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by. You know how I feel. It's a new dawn. It's a new day. It's a new life. And I'm feeling good. Fish in the sea, you know how I feel. River running free, you know how I feel. Blossom on the tree, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life.
Well, good evening, everybody. We know it's Tuesday night. You know what that means. That means we are going racing here in the Right Now Roofing Xfinity Series here in Goat Locker Racing. I'm Eddie Smith. Thank y'all for watching here on V-Speed Racing Network. And tonight we go playoff racing. As the playoffs have started, we jumped into the final 12. They're going to battle it out for a championship, and it all starts here at Bristol Motor Speedway in Bristol, Tennessee. And what a way to start this off with a bang than to throw them into the last great Coliseum, put them in the bull ring, and make them go at it. Man, I can't think of a better place to start this playoff run. I want to thank Right Now Roofing for their sponsorship of this series. Been a major sponsor this season, and really excited to have them on board. It has been really great. Great partners here at Goat Locker. Jam Printing Promotions, Veterans for Life, Cruising Classics, and Premier Setups, man, all great partners. Take a look where we've been, and we'll see where we're going. You see, we're done with the regular season. Jacob Ellingson is going to win the regular season title. Gets a little extra bonus points. He will have about 11 points bonus, which will set him atop the standings, but the point standing is so close, it's not going to take much to get that going. But you see right here, we got Bristol tonight and Michigan in a week, and then we have a little cut down, and we'll go down to the round of 8, Kansas, Phoenix, and the championship 4 here tonight. Gonna be crazy, and it all starts here at Bristol. Man, what a great way to start. Now, if you don't know much about Bristol, shame on you. It's one of the best tracks that iRacing has, but also NASCAR. Just some legendary races here. Yeah, I think Bristol has always just kind of had a soft spot in everybody's heart. and it's just so unique, and it puts on unique racing year after year this season. It's wild and crazy. So on iRacing, it's a lot of fun. You really can run both lanes these days. You can run up at the top, you can run down at the bottom. You actually see 1 and 2 a little bit narrower, a little bit tighter corner as you go down to 1 and 2. So the turns are different. You can't drive them the same. It's just not going to work. So going to be interesting to see how these guys attack it tonight. Is it going to be on the bottom or on the top? Let's take a look at your playoff standings. You see Jacob Ellington, Jake Denton, Trevor McManus, Scott Phelps, Patrick Drabick, Charlie Harcum, Alex Cruz, George Jewell, Chris Sawyer, Jamie Marcus, Chance Taylor, and John Anthony are your round of 12. So they'll have 2 races here tonight, or in this round, and you don't want to have a bad race to start off with, that's for sure. Well, all right. Well, let's go ahead. Qualifying is underway, so let's go ahead and jump to our national anthem by Navy vet Jared Ashley, and we'll jump right into the grid and see where everybody's going to start.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
All right, well, let's jump right back into it, and let's go ahead and get the grid up, see where everybody's going to start here tonight. On your front row, going to be playoff drivers Charlie Harcum and Patrick Drabick. Harcum with a fantastic lap, but Patrick Drabick just 0.003 of a second behind. Really close, those two. Row number 2 is going to be Ryan Pendleton with Craig Bontrager in that 4th position. Starting in 5th, going to be Tanner Bethea and Jacob Denson in the 6th spot. 7th is going to be Levi McCarty with Trevor McManus. Levi got the win last week. Trevor looking to continue his bid for a championship tonight. Bristol is going to be a good track for him, I would imagine. 9th going to be your regular season champ, Jacob Ellington, with Chance Taylor in the 10th spot. 11th going to be Alex Cruz with Scott Phelps right next to him. John Anthony going to roll off in 13th. 14th going to be George Jewell. 15th, Matt Knights and Jamie Marcus in 16th. 17th, Doug Ellingson, Johnny Cofield in the 18th position. 19th, Mike D'Amico and Chris Sawyer round out your top 20. 21st, Tyler Justice, Eric Martinez in the 22nd position. And that rounds out your field here tonight. Well, Bristol, we love it. We love going to a track like this. Take a look at your race analysis. 130 laps here tonight. You got 4 sets available in the pits, 2 green, white, checkered, 100% fuel load, so the car won't be super tight, have all the balance in it. But the main things to do tonight, if you're a playoff driver, avoid mistakes. You only have 2 races in this round. 1 bad race here tonight, it could be real big trouble. And then, of course, you win and you're in. That is going to be a big, big, important part. So a lot to think about here. Besides just the normal stuff of, hey, where are we racing? You know, how are they going to run this track? Well, I tell you, this track is got two grooves. You can run right around the bottom, you can run right around the top, and you're going to see guys try different lines throughout the race. You're going to see early that bottom line will work really well. We'll see as the run goes on if the bottom continues to work. The trick is if you go to the top too early, you could burn those right side tires off, and that could spell trouble. You might be stuck running the high side for the rest of the run. So it's going to be interesting to see how they balance that out. But I cannot wait to get this thing going. First race of the playoffs here in Bristol in the Right Now Roofing Xfinity Series, and green flag is out. Oh, and caution already out on the Speedway, and it looks like Mike D'Amico is turned around backwards on the front stretch, and we have our first caution of the night on lap number 2. So it did not take long. Let's see if we can go back and maybe find out what happened to Mike D'Amico. He's a winner this season. Running into the back of Doug Ellingson early as Doug kind of slow on the restart, just trying to give some space out in front of him. And we'll see here as the 29 is going to try to get a run up under him, not quite able to do it. Goes down to the bottom here, and yeah, Doug Ellingson hits him in the right front, and it's into spinning down into the inside wall. But Mike does a great job of not hitting anything there and able to keep going. So not too bad for Mike. He started in the back. He'll just go right back to the back, and he'll be able to charge forward. Don't think we'll see anybody come down and take any tires. But Mike able to keep it off the wall. Charlie Harcum got away early, and him and Patrick Drabick had kind of pulled away there on that first lap. We'll see if that continues. But Bristol is a very interesting track. Takes a little bit to get used to if you're not used to it. You know, there's a lot of speed right up against the wall if you can run it, and that's a tough thing. We talked about before the race how both turns are different. It seems like they're the same, but if we pull up the graphic again, and you can see there 1 and 2 a little bit tighter, 3 and 4 a little bit longer, and that makes a difference because these laps are so fast, and they are, you know, you're just flying around this track over and over again, and it's easy to lose track of where you are. What corner am I in? And if you go into that tighter corner and you're not prepared for it, you don't slow down enough, you'll see guys bounce off the wall in 1 and 2. So that's something to think about, something to be careful. But yeah, that outside line is just so much fun here. It's so much fun to get up against the wall, and there's so much speed. If you can put that right rear tire, see where Charlie Harcum really is right there. I mean, a little bit higher than that. If you can do that, you'll be extremely fast. But like I said before, the tires will wear out a little bit, and once you do that, once you commit to the top, it can definitely be done if you run high enough. If you run a little bit lower, you don't get all the way up to the top, it will actually make it pretty tough. That right front will wear out, but if you run right against the wall, it can be really, really nice. But once you do that, you'll be committed to the top. You try to take that car down to the bottom, it will not work on the bottom. So it is a definite, interesting way this race will play. Guys get up on the top, you won't be able to go around them. You'll have to take the bottom, and it'll be difficult to pass the run off the top side. So there's a lot to think about here, and we'll see that all play out as we get ready to go green here. Charlie Harcum will have control of the restart, and should be able to get away a little bit quicker this time. Pace car pulled off. Going to get a green flag here as it goes. Really, really nice restart there for Charlie Harcum as Patrick Drabick and Craig Von Traeger are going to battle side by side. Patrick's going to have the run off the top side, and he will take over that second position. But you're going to see right here, watch the top side and how strong it is off the corner. Look at the run that these guys are getting off the top side, and unfortunately for Craig, he's just not able to hold that top side back. You really need to be able to use the whole track there, and he's not able to do it. You see he's going to slot right up in front of Jacob Denson as we cross over into lap number 9. Now, Trevor McManus, he is a very smart racer, and he is right down to the bottom because then caution is out again. Looks like Tyler Justice has gone around, so messy here early. But we see a couple drivers. Doug Ellingson involved yet again in that 58 car. Let's go back and see what happened. Tyler Justice to the inside of Doug Ellingson, and coming off the wall, Doug gets a run down the straightaway, and Tyler's still looking down to the inside. Doug gets a little out of shape, going to grab that wall to come right down the track, gets Tyler Justice, and he goes into the inside wall, bounces back out towards the outside wall, and the 29 of Mike D'Amico involved, as well as Eric Martinez here in the 00. So we could probably go back and watch from Doug Ellingson cockpit, just see. You can see he's really nervous about the wall. You can tell he wants to run up high, that's fast, but he's cutting down on exit. You see, he just kind of gets goofed up there in the middle of the corner, and when he does, comes down and hits Tyler Justice, and Tyler just really nowhere to go, and comes back up the track and collects the rest of the drivers. So that will do it for Tyler Justice, who calls it quits after that right there. He's not in the playoffs, so not too terrible for him. He'll just move on. Didn't even elect to take his fast repair, just called it quits. Said, I guess I'm done with this tonight. Doug Ellingson will come down and get his fast repair along with Mike D'Amico. Maybe some tires. Looks like both D'Amico and Doug Ellingson took a set of tires. A little surprised to see that. Only got 4 tire sets here tonight. It's pretty restrictive, so they're now only going to have 2 left in the pits. Pretty early to be taking those tires, even if you spin. But we'll see. We'll see how that plays out. But, yeah, these playoffs are going to be a lot of fun. A lot of drivers tiptoeing around tonight. I think you got to be careful here. It's easy to want to go up there and win and lock yourself in, but just 2 races, you don't have a whole lot of mulligans. It's a very, very short playoff round, and you have to be careful. I mean, if you can finish 3rd and you're a playoff driver, that will jump you up quite a few points. We'll take a look at that, the standings one more time, and you can see, Jacob Ellingson, you can't see the points, but Ellingson's got a 1,011. Denson's got 1,009. Trevor McManus, 1,007. And then Scott Phelps and Patrick Dravitt, all 1,003. And then all the way down to Chance Taylor, it's all 1,000. So every point matters for those folks. You don't have to put yourself in a position trying to go wild to try to get a win. You just need to finish higher than the other playoff drivers. If you're, if you're those drivers at the top, if you're Trevor, if you're Jacob, both Jacobs really, you've earned the ability to, not have to win. And, really honestly, Ellingson can kind of coast, finish in top 10s, and he'll be moving on to the next round for sure. But I doubt that will be a strategy for him, but it does give him a nice buffer. But the guys who don't have that, one position means everything. So you're going to be fighting as much as you can, while also trying to make sure that you don't push too hard and find yourself, like Tyler Justice, out of this thing early and really be in trouble when you get to Michigan. All right, going to get this thing rolling here as we had our second caution of the night. Charlie Harcum with a great jump. And he is going to lead them down into turn 1. And now teammates going to be side by side. Watch the outside as the 07 is going to get it wound up here. 23 going to dive right up into the outside line. You can see right away we want to be up at the top. Watch just how difficult it's going to be. And it's almost like you have to do slide jobs. If you want to run up here, you got to keep the momentum up. And that's exactly what you're on board with Tanner Bethea here. And trying to just keep the momentum up, trying to keep the speed up, but not get into the wall. And you'll see guys that try to go down to the bottom, you really have to get a good run on the guy in front of you, dive down to the bottom, and hopefully that you can slide job, because he will get the better run off the corner, and it's going to be make it very difficult. But here we go, battle for the lead as Patrick Dravitt putting a little pressure here on Charlie Harcum. And at this moment, when everybody is so close, you see that outside line is pretty much formed up. It looks like Talladega up there. And with that being the case, if you do decide to go down and try to make a pass, which is what Patrick Dravitt's going to do right here, he gasses it up. Can he complete it, though? And he can't. We'll see if he can do it right here. He's going to try it again. But you can see Ryan Pendleton's going to fill that gap on the outside, but a big run as, caution comes out And, man, we've got a big wreck. Matt Knights, Chris Sawyer, Chance Taylor, a lot of playoff drivers involved in this one. And, oh, man, looks like Alex Cruz here missing a complete front bumper. So must have had a really massive accident back here. Let's go back and see what happened. Watching Alex Cruz, he's looking to the inside of Scott Phelps. Ooh, some people make contact with the wall. Trevor McManus is where that all started. Oh, and Trevor was involved too. I missed him. Massive hit with the 5. The 5 is going to get pinballed as, Doug Ellingson clobbers Mike D'Amico, and he loses his front bumper after that hit. Holy cow. Looks like it all started with Trevor McManus. Let's go back and see what happened to Trevor. I think he gets just a little bit loose on board with him right here. So he's driving down to the inside, trying to make this work, and you're going to see him get out of shape here. You see he's making good time on the bottom, really attacking that corner. Makes a little bit of contact, goes down to the inside wall, and does a fantastic job of saving it. Parts and pieces going everywhere as they are wrecking across the track. And, yeah, look, oh, good grief. Going board with Doug Ellingson here. Watch this. So he had a pretty good view of it. And I'll be honest with you, it's hard to see. You're going to see right here, Doug's not able to see the wreck at the moment. He can't see anything. Look, he just sees guys checking up, and at the last minute, he comes around the corner. That's that banking, and you really couldn't see what was going on unless somebody calls it out. You're kind of driving blind. So Bristol's so fast that you come around the corner and there's a track blocking wreck. You just don't have a whole lot of time to get woed up there, and that's exactly what happened between those drivers. So Mike D'Amico is now on pit road, already used his fast repair, and now has lost another bumper. So multiple drivers on pit road. Ellingson, Chance Taylor, a playoff driver who is already in trouble as he's going to have to get these required repairs. Looks like he had to tow because he blew his motor. And he'll have to sit here and wait for the tow to complete. He's already 4 laps down. Tough beginning of the race. And, you know, what are you going to do? Sometimes you get caught up in something you really couldn't avoid. And, you know, Trevor did a good job there of saving it. It's just really hard to predict where those cars are going to go. So Chris Sawyer had to come down and get some damage fixed, it looks like. But it looks like that 21 car is looking okay, so nothing too wrong for that 21. He'll be able to continue on and save that fast repair. Alex Cruz, Mike D'Amico, Doug Ellingson, fast repair down. Trevor McManus as well had to come down and get that fast repair. All right, we're doubled up for the restart. Already seeing Bristol be rough on some folks, and honestly, it's haven't even had a chance to wear these tires out just yet. So it's just Mike D'Amico calls it quits after that accident. He is not in the playoffs, but he would have loved to gotten that trophy, that's for sure. All right, I know these guys want to get some racing in as we are down to just 20 drivers left in this field, I think. Now Patrick Dravick was able to grab the lead down on the bottom, and now we'll have control of the restart. Harcum will fall back to the 3rd position with, he's going to try to get to the outside as they're side-by-side teammates, the 28 and the 7, and it is a cluster, you-know-what right here for the top 8 positions. That bottom side really working well. You can see Jacob Denson here making it work with Levi McCarty, last week's winner in that 18. Jacob Denson's going to get a little bit loose. And Levi thought about 3 wide, then backed out of it. I think that's probably a smart move. Bristol, you can go 3 wide if you need to. But I think Levi said, let's fight for another day. And the 27 of Jacob Ellingson is going to go around. He gets a little bit too hot into the corner, goes around. Doesn't hit anybody, and Matt Knight's going to avoid him. Let's see, who else was involved in that? Can't really see. Yeah, well, it looks like George Jewell was the other one who was involved as he was just trying to get woed up there as Jacob Ellingson gets loose, and that's a danger early on about that bottom side. You can get on the gas really early. But you have to be careful. Let's go check it out. can see he's already spinning. We'll back it up just a little bit more. And while this happens, you put pressure on that right rear tire. And when that happens and you gas it up a little bit, you can see he was just kind of spinning into the corner. And does a great job of staying down on the bottom, not hitting anything, not collecting anything. He'll just go to the back. Go back and see maybe what happened to George here and see exactly. Like maybe George was slowing up for the wreck maybe, and I think, yeah, George, I don't really blame either one of them. George was trying to check up for the wreck, and I think Trevor just couldn't check up in time and got into the back of him. But no damage on that 36, so he's still good to go. Already in this race, we're already 100 laps to go, so this will go by pretty quickly. 130 laps at Bristol is not a lot, so maybe why you see the urgency that you do see. But 5 cautions already in 30 laps just shows how tough these B cars. These Xfinity cars are a lot of fun, but they can really push you to the limits. And I think the trucks and the next gen really can make you lazy. I think the B car is the Xfinity car is definitely a car that can humble you really quickly, just because of the power that it has, the old school kind of yawed effect that the car will have in the corner that you really lean on that right rear. It is a fun car to drive, but I think the trucks and the next gen really kind of have a little bit of training wheels almost. The next gen really gets planted to the ground, and you never really have to worry about trying to rotate the car or finding any speed rotating that car. This car, though, you have to be careful, and you upset it just a little bit. And you can see there, Jacob Ellingson goes around. So far, only one lead change is Patrick was able to get around Charlie Harcum, who's fallen back to the 3rd position. Look at the track temp, 84 degrees. That's plenty of grip here in this night race. You got all the grip in the world that you need. Just have to give yourself a little bit of time to get those tires up to temp, get a good amount of green flag laps. Once you get the heat in those tires, they'll really grip up, and you can really fly around here. Just got to give it a little bit of time, a little bit more than what we have seen folks give it so far. Patrick will take the top side. His teammate Ryan Pendleton there on the bottom. We'll get this thing back green here and get some racing if we can. Barney, green flag waving as Patrick's going to take over that spot and going to drive right into 1 and 2, right on the high side. And you can see Tanner Bethea down on the bottom trying to make that work. We've seen it be really fast here early. Oh, he's going to get loose. Up the track he goes, almost into Jacob Denson. And the 79 of Scott Phelps has to check up just a little bit. So it seems like the bottom is really fast, but it is sketchy at the moment, as it seems like the people are getting really loose on entry, and that's causing them to almost wreck. That was a great save by Tanner. And, I mean, just look at the racing that we got going on. Let's go on board with last week's winner. Levi McCarty was up there almost inside the top 5, had to back out of it. Is now just finding a little bit of patience, riding the top line. Scott Phelps a little undecisive here. Can't decide if he wants to be at the bottom or the top. And you see Tanner Bethea going to slide in front of Craig Bontrager and get in line as everybody starts to just run laps around the top side. And you see guys, what I see a lot right now is folks running up at the top, but then cutting down on exit. And I tell you what, there is a lot of speed if you can stay higher on the exit. You see guys just nervous about hitting the wall on exit. You can see Levi there kind of running down the track. That works. It works okay, but man, there's so much more speed if you can run right against the rim and keep it there all the way through the exit. But everybody just trying to be smart and not push the car a little bit too much, get into that wall. That could be an easy day ender. As man, look at Trevor McManus as he is on the move here. Working that bottom line. He's already had an incident already down on the bottom. Is Craig going to get into the wall? He's going to stay a little bit low as you see the run that Craig's going to get. As we should see a little bit of tire fall off at this point. You can see Trevor getting a little bit tight in the middle, not able to get back on the throttle like he was early in the run. Having to be patient as caution has come out again, and it looks like Eric Martinez again involved in some sort of incident. And the 97 of Johnny Cofield sitting on track. Let's go back and see what happened. Right in front of Alex Cruz here. Alex on the outside, Johnny on the inside. Alex gets a big run, and they almost make contact there. Into the corner again. We'll see what exactly happened. Oh, it was right in front of him. Oh, my goodness. It was Levi McCarty where all this started, and these guys were just extracurriculars. Man, Jamie Barkus, massive damage to the 15. And, yeah, it all started with Levi McCarty. Levi right behind Scott Phelps. It's like Craig Bontrager we were on board with. You see how loose Scott Phelps is off the corner. We'll see if maybe that's where that started. Craig up there against the wall. Oh, Craig's going to get loose. And when he does, Levi tries to hang on to it. The 16 going to get into the back bumper as guys just start piling in after the wreck. And big damage from a couple drivers, and Johnny Cofield being one of those drivers who had to actually back out. See the contact there as they go spinning down to the inside, and Johnny almost was able to avoid it and got turned there right at the end. I believe that was Martinez that turned down. No, it was Craig as he got hit from behind, and man, Jamie Barkus. Jamie tried to miss it, just kind of rolling through, hoping to get through that wreck. Definitely on the brakes, trying to get it woed up, but just trying to roll through it. And when Johnny hits the wall, nowhere to go for Barkus. All right, pit stops have happened. Patrick Drabick, Ryan Pendleton, Jacob Denson, all those guys come down pit road, and the lead will be cycled around to Trevor McManus, who pitted about 25 laps to go. He's already taken a set of tires, so obviously does not want to pit here. I think that'll put him at a slight disadvantage for sure. But track position could be really important. We've already seen it be really tough from 10th on back as guys are really struggling with the handling of their cars. And so if I can be up at the front, even if I lose 2 or 3 spots, if I can maintain the top 5, that'll be a good place to be. So I do not fault him or George at all. George actually only has 18 laps on his set of tires, so I think that's the right call. Don't want to save those sets, don't want to use them too early. So this is absolutely the right call. Lights off on the pace car. We're going to get ready to go back green here. Trevor McManus leads here on lap 47. And green flag back out. Trevor gets a great jump. George just not quite able to get going as well as Trevor. A lot of guys will be starting in first gear. And here comes Ryan Pendleton already down to the inside. Trevor actually kind of goes down to try to block that run. And Ryan actually gives up the good for just a second. We'll see if that continues, but, man, Ryan Pendleton rolling here with these fresh tires. He's got Jacob Denson behind him. Patrick Dravitt kind of fell back. He's back in 5th place. Did not have a good restart. I think he was behind George, but, man, look at the run that Ryan gets. Goes up there and gives McManus a little shove. He's going to get the massive run off the corner. We'll see if he takes a dive down to the inside. Man, you have to. With a run like that, there's no way You got to lift and let him have that position. Now they're going to fight hard. Ryan, with those fresher tires, should be able to make that inside work. Scott, they're going to make a little bit of contact. As here comes Jacob Denson down to the inside. They're almost 3 wide. As Ryan is going to fall back just a tad. Here comes Jacob Denson down to the inside. And a little bit of pinching there by Trevor McManus trying to hold on to this spot. Trevor McManus is going to go around right in front of the field. Big wreck. As he gets loose there on the outside, and another disappointing race for Trevor McManus. There's a lot of damage to that car, and how bad is it? He's already used his fast repair. He does not have another one of those. So, man, that is. You can see the frustration as he makes the mistake, and we'll kind of go back and watch this again. We'll take it back just a little bit further, but he was battling here with the 23, and you can see he wanted to hold on to that lead. Ryan Pendleton actually goes up into the corner, gives him a little shove, and here comes Jacob Denson down to the inside. And, I mean, he's fighting so hard against guys who have so much fresher tires. You just wonder. And you can see, oh, it's a little bit of net code, I think is what it was. I think that's exactly what happened. We'll try to see if we can get a little bit of a. You're going to see what looks like contact, but isn't actually contact. Watch right here. Yeah, look, that's net code. And Trevor McManus probably thinks that Jacob Denson just cleared him out, but it's not. He's got that big, huge gap between them. They kind of was trying to drive down each other's doors, and net code makes the contact, and that's what causes Trevor to get out of shape, unfortunately. So that's a tough deal. You know, we've talked about netcode. If you're not aware, I'll give you the short, brief version. Netcode is your computer, your competitor's computer are all sending information to a server, iRacing server, and the server is sending back locations of each driver. So both of them were sending information to iRacing. iRacing was taking that, sending it back, and it's playing prediction. It does a really great job that we're able to run as close as we are, make contact, and not have more issues. But in this case, the server didn't know, was maybe a little bit confused, just a hair of where these drivers were, and thought that either Trevor or Jacob was a little bit closer to the other driver than they actually were. So that's where netcode comes into play. And unfortunately, Trevor gets the worst end of it. Now he's going to call it a night. The number 9 out of this thing early, it looks like. So enough damage, he was not able to continue. We'll see if he's able to get some of that damage repair and get back out on the track. But he's going to be multiple laps down at this point. Not the way that you want to start your playoff run. Luckily for Trevor, he has the speed to win next week at Michigan. So we'll see if he can get it done there. But, yeah, tough way to start the playoff run here tonight. But all those racing, Trevor, they're happy to see that. Don't want to wish bad luck on anybody, but, you know, when you see a championship favorite have trouble, that's good for you if you're about in the 4th, 5th, 6th position in playoff, because that means that you have a little bit better chance. And, you know, Trevor, if he can recover next week, he only has to be in the top 8, so it's definitely still possible for Trevor, of course, if he wins. And he is definitely good enough to win at Michigan. All right, lap 57 coming to the green flag here. Jacob Denson on the outside. He will have control of the restart. His teammate, Charlie Harcum, going to be there in second. And Charlie, again, just, or not again, but he didn't have a great restart. Gets a good run through 1 and 2, but now down on the bottom, we'll see what he can do. Going to get side by side. Look how good that inside line looks as they go through 3 and 4. He was dead even with his teammate. We'll see if he can make the pass down on the bottom. That has been a treacherous spot for a lot of folks. He actually gets a little bit loose there and falls back. But, man, look at this racing that we got going on here. Holy cow. Everybody fighting for space, and there is none. You're going to have to take it. And this is where the old rattle your cage came from at Bristol. And, you know, while they were running at the bottom, and I know people kind of look back with rose-colored glasses about that, running at the top's the same way. You got to root them up out of the groove, and you got to do something to make it work. Right now, Charlie Harcum tried to make that inside work, but it's starting to fade as the tires get up to temperature. Man, Patrick Dravick all over the back bumper of Jacob Denson. And you can see Charlie trying to fit that car in that gap if he can. Right now, he's kind of stuck. He wants to get to the top side, but Patrick does not want to let him up there. He has been committed to the top side so far in this race, so he doesn't want to give that position up, because if Charlie gets up in front of him, he's going to be following him, and then that's just another driver you have to fight off in the next 60 or so laps. Patrick looks calm, though, knowing he's got some work to do here. He's going to be following Jacob for a while. Wants to save those tires the best you can, but he looks really calm. And starting to see a little bit of separation, and we got probably the longest green flag run that we've had here tonight. Go back through the field to watch Eric Martinez down on the inside of Tanner Bethea. These drivers have been involved in a lot of accidents, and Charlie Harcum right up in front of him. He was up in third place and is falling all the way back to 7th here after just a few laps from the start of that run. So Charlie didn't have the greatest restart, and then I guess he just gets freight trained on the outside. He's on the same tire, so it's not a tire difference. I don't know if he got a little bit looser or whatever. You can actually hear the sound of somebody hitting the wall, and that's usually something that happens pretty much all throughout the race. And right now, crazy, we started 22 drivers, only 14 drivers still on the lead lap, so a tough start of this race. And you see the 16 of John Anthony get into the wall there. See right in front of him, Tanner Bethea actually bouncing off the wall. And there's a name for that. It's called the Bristol Bounce. Not something that you see done. You see Chris Sawyer down to the inside, and John Anthony actually lifts there and gives him the spot. A couple playoff drivers here. But the Bristol Bounce is something that's been going on for a long time. And you know, with it being a top line dominant track, you can actually drive into the corner and give the wall just a little bit of kiss. Not like that. You want to do it in the middle of the corner, not off. But go up right here, a little kiss, and that car will actually turn to the left a little bit and bounce you off the wall, and it'll be it'll kind of pick up a really fast lap time. But you have to be careful these days. iRacing has kind of tried to put a stop to any kind of shenanigans like that, and it will damage your car if you're not careful. That's something that you might save for the end of the race. It's right now, John Anthony starting to fall back a little bit as here comes Jamie Barkus. Now, Jamie is 3 laps down. About the best thing that you could say for Trevor at the moment is there's been a lot of playoff drivers that have had similar luck. But Jamie Barkus not having the best night as he was involved in a couple incidents early and now finds himself in 15th, 3 laps down. So he's hoping for a few more cautions to get that car back on the lead lap. Right now, roofing number 15 machine. But he's got to take what he gets at this point. And really nothing he could have done in that one big incident, able to get his fast repair, but had to tow, and I think that was the big thing that really hurt it. But staying in it, that's what you do. If you want to be a champion, you got to stay in these races. You can't quit if you can still run, and Jamie doing a great job of that right now. Up front, it is still Jacob Denson with Patrick Dravick and Ryan Pendleton. They have kind of broken away here. As Scott Phelps is about 0.6 of a second back, and see Levi McCarty looking down to the inside, but Jacob Denson out front early in this run and is starting to slowly sneak away from the Goat Locker counterparts that are behind him. You know, Jacob Denson's had an interesting season. He started off strong. He went to Vegas and just completely dominated that race. It was not even close. I thought for sure we were in trouble in this series. I thought, oh gosh, we got somebody who's going to dominate every single race. Just how much he won by at Vegas. I mean, he had a massive gap. It was like a 9-second gap back to his teammate and a 17-second advantage over third place. So, I mean, he just kicked their butts at Vegas, and I said, oh, we're in trouble. This is going to be Jacob Denson's league. And, you know, it just hasn't been the same everywhere else. I think Vegas may just be a track that he really enjoys and has been really good at, and he's been really good. He's got a couple of wins, but just hasn't been as dominant as I thought. I think maybe other guys just turned up the wick after that butt whooping. So, all right, Patrick Dravick, Ryan Pendleton now battling. You saw Ryan go down to the inside, but that inside line, if you've been running the top, it's very difficult to make it work. You have to slow down so much, the car just will not turn. And here comes Levi McCarty down, working that bottom line. He has run these guys down. He is really, really fast at the moment. And he is on the same set of tires. You can see him running that bottom line. And I think Ryan Pendleton kind of saw it coming, going to slide job his teammate, but that's going to open the door for Levi, who is going to take advantage of Pat maybe trying to do a little crossover here. Let's see if he can make this pass work. As Ryan's going to get into the wall. That's going to slow up that outside line and make Patrick Dravick have to check up a little bit. And now the 18 is going to get beside the 23, but that outside line just a little bit too strong. As he gets up towards the front, you can see the outside. Oh, and Patrick's going to get into the wall. A big tank slapper off the corner. Hit it square. Shouldn't be too big of an issue, but you do not want to do too many of those. You'll be in trouble. Levi almost able to get up into that gap. We'll see if he does that now. No, he's going to continue to be there on the bottom. And I think right now, Levi, one of the faster cars on the track. Your leader, Patrick Dravick, starting to fade just a little bit. We talked about that outside line being something that you have to be careful with if you're going to run it the whole time. As on the long runs, it will start to burn those right sides off, and you can see Patrick starting to fade quickly here as we start to click off these laps as Levi all over the back bumper of Ryan. And you can hear on board Levi here, you can hear the patience on the throttle. He's not getting on the throttle as early as you could. He's waiting till the car starts to rotate on its own and then gets on the throttle. If you get on the gas a little bit too early, you really burn that right front off. And so he's doing a good job of being patient, taking what he's given, not try to push the issue. We've already seen a couple accidents where guys push the issue too much and make contact. So you can see Levi being very, very patient for sure. Now back here to Pat. He's got his teammate behind him, Jamie Barkas, who is going down to the inside. Man, look at Barkas. He is flying right now. And I don't know if Pat, that damage to the wall may have been the problem for him as soon as that happened, he started to fall back really quickly. So Pat in trouble here. He's going to need a caution, or it's going to be a long 35 laps here as he continues to fade. And I think they can probably make it on fuel from here on out, I would imagine, if we don't get another caution. So I don't think we'll see him pit. So Pat struggling here to hold on to it. He's going to stay in that outside line, fight as hard as he can, but you can see George Jewell there on the inside. Look how much faster George is on the bottom. And right now, honestly, the 49 of Craig Von Traeger, just nowhere to go. He's just going to have to wait his turn, as there's just nowhere to go with Pat up in that outside line. He's just defending really well. But George Jewell having a great run here. George is a playoff driver. And that number 36, Winchester Chevrolet, looking fast as they cross the line. George Jewell actually the fastest car on the track. Now he does have 10-lap fresher tires and everybody in front of him, so he does have that going for him. So that is good for George. I mean, honestly, unless we get a caution, he is going to be faster. I mean, he's running them down quickly. I'm telling you, he is really fast at the moment. Tanner Bethea still trying to get around Pat. Both him and looks like Craig Bontrager are going to be able to get around him. But here goes George Jewell around Levi McCarty without much issue, and he's going to follow Jamie Barkus up to the front. Look at George Jewell up in the top 3. He's about 2.3 seconds back from your leader, but you can see that's the 15 of Jamie Barkus, who's in 14th, 3 laps down, and then that's the second place of Ryan Pendleton. And George using that bottom line and making up a ton of time here. We talked about some guys that have had trouble not taking advantage of the playoffs. And here's a fella right here that is taking advantage of issues that guys have had and putting himself in a great position with the ability to have a great finish. I know he wants that win. He's going to run out of time. He's just not going to be able to run down Jacob Denson, I don't believe. But I think a second place is definitely possible for George as he continues to run that bottom line. Now going to get even with Jamie Barkus. It's going to take a little bit of time to make this pass work, but last time by, George Jewell was a little bit faster than Jacob Denson. So he definitely has the speed right now. He's got to get through this traffic. Jamie Barkus not going to be easy to pass. He's definitely not going to roll over for George Jewell. Barkus really kind of, oh, he actually does. He actually lifts for George, so I'll take that back. Jamie 3 laps down, John Anthony 2 laps down, so Jamie would need to catch up and unlap himself from it's pretty much, he is pretty much done here. Jamie's not going to be able to get into this thing. There's no way we're going to have enough cautions to get him back on the lead lap with John Anthony. So Jamie, though, has picked up a spot since he come back on track, so not a total loss for sure. But he moves out of the way. You're going to let us have a really nice battle for second place, it looks like. George still working that inside line. Now runs the middle, trying to find a little bit of extra off the corner to make this pass. And they are catching Jacob Denson. Both of these drivers are starting to run him down. George Jewell now 1.8 seconds back from Jacob Denson. So they have started to reel in Denson just a little bit. They're going to fight side by side likely. That's going to slow them down. But with 20 laps to go, we may have a race on our hands. Now, if George can get clear here and continue to go as fast as he's been, he might have the opportunity to run him down. He's going to get a good run off the corner. Not quite able to close, but I think George is going to get him in just a second. That inside line looking strong, and George going to see if he can slide up in front of the 23. He does, so he is clear for second place. 20 laps to go. 1.8 seconds is the gap to Jacob Denson. George Jewell, who started 14th, the biggest story of the race at the moment with those fresher tires, is making good use of them. And now he's got to do the hardest thing in the world, run down the leader, and only has 18 laps to get it done. His guy was about, oh gosh, about 2/10 faster last time by. He is really moving right now on the bottom, and Jacob Denson is going to roll up on some lap traffic. So this is going to be exciting. I think he has definitely got time to catch him. Does he have enough time to pass him? That's going to be the trick. And you can see that's Jacob Denson there up on that top line. It's down to 1.4 seconds as Denson is going to go around what looks like Scott Phelps. Now the gap down to 1.1 seconds. He's making that inside work. Oh, caution is out. Caution is out. Unbelievable. Tanner Bethea sitting on the track. Oh, and he's going to exit out. Oh, we just can't have anything good. I can tell you that. Just not. It's not able to have anything good in this world. And I wanted to see how that was going to play out, but this is racing. Watches Tanner Bethea down on the inside. He has those fresher tires. Going to make a little contact with Eric Martinez, it looks like. It spins back up on the track in front of leaders. Charlie Harcum has a small heart attack as he was able to avoid the 20, and that brings out the caution. Well, if you're George Jewell, you gotta you got to be happy with the way that turned out. And I think for Jacob Denson, you got to breathe a sigh of relief, honestly, because he's going to get fresh tires. He was starting to fade a little bit. And so George going to have a good pit stop here, get back out in that second position. He's going to have to haul the mail and try to figure out a way to get around the 7. And we'll see if he wins the battle off pit road. He does, beats off Ryan Pendleton. Beats him off pit road. And so George Jewell will have second place as Craig Bontrager is still on the track, but it looks like he is coming down pit road now. So I don't know if he missed pit road or whatever, but he definitely would love to have another set of tires. Well, man, I hate that. I hate that because I think George had what it took to get up there. I said I don't think he had enough time, but he got around Jamie and Ryan pretty quickly, and he was 2/10 faster almost every single lap. So he definitely did not want to see that caution, as now these guys, Ryan, Charlie, Patrick Drabick, all of those guys, George is going to have to dig down deep. He had that long run speed. Now he's got equal tires. He's got to find some short run speed if he's going to do anything here with Jacob. When we go green, we'll have about 10 laps to go. Jacob Denson's going to have the best spot on the track. This worked out. Couldn't have been any better for him. Now he's going to be able to take off and try to set sail here with just a few laps to get everybody's tires up to speed, and he's going to get such a great launch. George is going to have to really think about this restart. He doesn't want to let Jacob get too far out where he can't reel him back in. So George is going to have to get a good restart here, and then hopefully really you want to try to get up to the outside and get that momentum and try to make a pass. But, man, what a great way for any of these drivers. All top the whole top 7, I believe, are all playoff drivers. Yeah, Matt Knight's the first non-playoff driver in the top 10. You got Craig Bontrager. He is, and Levi McCarty. So 8th, 9th, and 10th are not playoff drivers. So all the top 7 playoff guys. They would love to get that win, too, I'll tell you that. But Jacob Denson is going to have the best seat in the house. He's going to have the control of the restart. He's going to pick the outside. Try to bring his teammate, Charlie Harcum, up with him. And try to fight off George Jewell, who would love to see a win. Well, all right, here we go. Getting ready to go. George is actually a little bit too far back. He needs to scoot up a little bit. It's going to give him a whole bunch of room, and he does not. So George is side by side with Charlie Harcum before they even get to turn 1. Big mistake there out of Jewell, as he was really sleeping on that restart. Now he's going to get taken 3 wide, and here comes Jacob Ellingson out of nowhere on the outside, get a massive run, and now just 10 laps to go. George going to fall back, just did not get the restart that he wanted. And now he's back down to the bottom, but he's going to have to find some of that speed. And here comes Ryan Pendleton on the outside, and now the 36 in trouble. Going to have to dig down deep there, George. Oh, and the 23 going to get into the wall. Hard contact with that 23 car. 8 laps to go, coming to 7. Here comes Jacob Ellingson down to the inside. We already saw him get loose on the bottom, but can he make it stick this time? Oh, and Ryan Pendleton again into the wall. He is giving it all he's got, and he's gaining. Caution out. I don't know who went around. Looks like Jamie Bark is just slow. Maybe the 49 of Craig Bontrager. Slow on the track, but I don't know where it came from. We'll see if we can go back and find out. I don't know if it was Jamie. I think it's hard to say. He may have been checking up for another driver, and that's what it looks like. I don't see who it is. 49 of Craig is the one, and Matt Knight's. Oh, man, Craig got a massive run on Matt there off the corner and just slammed it in the wall trying to make that gap, and they both go around. And that's what brought out this caution. Well, this is a great caution for Jacob, as nobody really had a chance to kind of mount any kind of push towards the front. He got a massive restart there, so we'll see if he can continue to do that this time. Being able to get that far out ahead is a huge advantage. This time, though, you'll have his teammate next to him. That will be interesting to see at this point how much do teammates really matter. You kind of do things for your teammates throughout the race, but once you get under 10 to go, it's for the race win. I've had some really good friends that I've raced with, really great teammates, but down to the end of the race, I'm not counting you down. I'm not giving you any kind of restart. I need all the advantage I can get to try to get the win. Should get the one to go here. We'll see as they cross the line. Oh, and we do not. So we'll go another lap. Well, let's do a little bit of sponsorship here. Let's take you to a Cruising Classics ad. Well, all right, thanks to Cruising Classics. That's a really cool ad. I like to see all those cars, but man, here's the cars I want to see. Restart into the zone. Jacob Denson, just 3 laps to go, and another great jump there on the outside. And Jacob Denson has a couple car lengths. As here comes Jacob Ellingson. They're going to be 3 wide in contact as Ellingson goes down into the inside wall. And massive contact for the 27. And Charlie Harcum goes around as well. There was no way they were making it out of the other end on that one. And we are under yet another caution. And green-white checkered attempt number 1. Let's go back and see that one more time. We were watching it. See, got the run. He just couldn't help himself and just ran out of room. Go on board with Ellingson here. Watch this. I mean, we don't have any more time. He don't have any time to waste, and probably didn't know they were going to end up being 3 wide. You see, he has to push up off the corner when he comes off of that, and when he does, just makes contact in the inside wall. He goes, and he's going to call it quits. Charlie Harcum gets a little bit sideways and actually saves it, but then cuts right back out in front of Levi McCarty, and the 16 of John Anthony nowhere to go, and then other folks come in, and more calamity. Well, the top 3 have changed again. It's now Jacob Denson, Ryan Pendleton, and Patrick Drabick. And Denson's been getting really great restarts. And, you know, I'm sort of a broken record on this because I try to encourage folks if they're listening to the broadcast. But if I'm Ryan Pendleton, Ryan is not in the playoffs. So he would love to see or get a win here tonight. If I'm Ryan Pendleton, I'm going to get it right next to him. Everybody keeps giving Jacob about a car length on the restart to just kind of go and get 2 car lengths to go down in turn 1. I mean, he's going to win that way. Giving him that much room, I think you got to pull even, and you got to guess and try to jump on the restart with him. If you can get side by side down into 1 and 2, that takes a lot of that advantage away. And, you know, hey, sometimes you got to risk it for the biscuit, especially if you're not in the playoffs. You obviously don't want to take him out, but you get a penalty for jumping the restart, oh well, you know. If you let him get 2 or 3 car links into 1 and 2, you're definitely not going to win. So we'll see what Ryan does here. But I want to see somebody get aggressive there in that second position, as the last 2 restarts have been pretty passive and allowed Jacob to kind of get out there. Well, as we are concluding this race, as we are on green-white checker number 1, there are only 9 drivers on the lead lap out of the 22 that started this race. So, wild race. A lot of calamity here tonight. That's playoff racing at Bristol. The 07 gives the 23 a bump. We'll see if the 23 can draw even with him on this restart. You get nervous. You don't want to jump the start, but hey, I want to win this race. You can see he's a little bit closer, trying to get up to that left front as a pace car is off into the restart zone. And, oh, man, catches Ryan Pendleton checking up, and Jacob Denson gets another great jump. Ryan Pendleton now going to be under fire from Levi McCarty, as Levi really all over the back bumper of that 23. Now the 07 down on the bottom. He's going to have to make it work. Here comes the 23. He's been bouncing off the wall all night long. Gets right up to the back bumper of Jacob Denson. Does he have a move available? White flag is out. Down into 3 and 4. And unfortunately, not going to be able to do anything with it. And Jacob Denson takes the victory here at Bristol and locks himself into the playoffs. He can take it easy for 1 week, as he will be your winner here tonight. Jacob Denson, after leading 85 laps, really dominated the last little part of that race, and he'll take the victory and move on. As he burns it down on the front stretch, some really nice and tight donuts. And what a quick one here tonight. Just an hour and 10 minutes at the moment. That was while we had a lot of caution, that was a very quick race. The little Polish victory lap to celebrate. Let's take a little break ourselves, and we will give you a couple of these ads, one for Premier and one for Cruising Classics, so y'all can see that one more time. And then we'll be back to talk to the top 3 right after this. Well, all right, here we are with your winner, Jacob Denson. Got him up into the booth. Jacob, wow, what a race. Pretty messy. I mean, only 9 drivers finish on the lead lap, and you were able to kind of get your way from sixth position after your starting spot, get up towards the front, and you led a majority of that last little bit. Congratulations, first off, on locking yourself into the playoff. But talk to me about that race. How did it go for you here tonight?
Appreciate it, Eddie. Like you said, I think the first half was kind of just surviving the attrition. I was able to get through and make some strategic passes there. That caution come out. I think it was, I forget how many laps to go, but we all came in and pit, and just kind of really where you restarted was the luck of the draw almost sometimes, because starting on the outside had such an advantage. And then we got that long green flag, and I knew coming out of practice that you could burn that right front up pretty quick. So I did as best I could, trying to ease into the turn, I guess you could say, because if somebody got to your inside, you could kind of hold them off, and they would burn their stuff up. So just kind of keeping the second place guy behind me, and that long run helped, which I think that caution that came out there at the end helped me, because I think it was George was actually catching me, and I think he had something for me. So I'm glad to get the win. That was a tough race. Bristol is not an easy track. Staying up front all night made a big impact. I didn't get caught up in anything, so yeah, pretty happy with it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a sort of a throwback. Talked a little bit about this before, during the race while you were leading at Vegas. I mean, you kicked everybody's butts. You had a 8-second lead, I think, over second place, and a 17-second lead over third, and just a dominant performance. But we haven't seen that. I mean, you had another win, but we haven't seen that type of performance. But it seemed like right as the playoffs start, Jacob Denson gets back to form and is ready to make a deep playoff run. I mean, you lock yourself into the next round, and which is really nice since there's only 2 races in this round. So, I mean, talk to me a little bit about your mindset as you can look past Michigan on into the next round. But how important was it to get that win?
It's super important because anything can happen. All it takes is one mistake, and next thing you know, you're out of the points. Getting this win is very stress relieving, I guess you could say. I like Michigan. I have fun there, so we'll go and have a good time. I'll kind of start looking at the next 2 tracks after that and do some practicing maybe. I know Iowa's the last race of the year, so definitely got that in our minds. But yeah, getting this win takes a lot of pressure off. Can go have fun next week. Hopefully, one of my teammates can get the win, and we can all get into the final 4, I guess you could say.
There you go. Well, all right. Well, Jacob, man, congratulations on the win, and looking forward to seeing how it goes the rest of the way. And as always, man, who you got to thank?
Definitely want to shout out the sponsors for the series: Cruising Classics, Red Beard Design Company, V Speed, Jam Printing and Promotions, and of course, Right Now Roofing. They're the ones putting this thing on. You guys do a great job broadcasting this. I want to thank our veterans. I think I told you guys back when I won a long time ago that I work for the shipyard here in Newport News, and I got a lot of respect for the veterans in the area. Definitely want to thank B&H Racing, B&H IT. Go check them guys out. They do a lot of great things. Phelps Media. And of course, I got Little Miami Brewing. If you're up in the Cincinnati area, check them out. They're a great family-owned restaurant, brewery. Got a lot of great beers. If you enjoy drinking cold brews, I suggest trying them out.
All right. Well, there you have it. Your winner here tonight, Jacob Denson at Bristol, takes that number 7 machine into victory lane, and he grabs the points lead as well as locking himself into the next round. Well, let's bring in our second place finisher, Ryan Pendleton. Man, Ryan, what a race. You were up in the top 3 pretty much all night long. Could never really get out front. It just seemed like nothing just – there's so many cautions. It was tough really making that work. And a couple times saw you knocking down the wall just trying to hang on to it. Talk to me what it was like out there at Bristol. It seemed like some guys were really struggling with the car. How was the car handling for you?
Yeah, I mean, the car handled well. That one long run, definitely, we smoked the tires. We put them to the test there. And I was, congrats to Jacob for winning. I was just talking to Levi, our third place finisher, and just it's a tough balance. We want guys to come out and race hard. I'm not in the playoffs. I don't want to affect it in a negative way, but we want guys to come out and compete. So I was dealing with that, and I was dealing with Pat behind me telling me, who cares about the tires, send it. So it was fun. But yeah, it got to be, we wore out those right fronts and the right rears a little bit on those long runs. But, there was guys had 2 lanes working. I couldn't make the bottom work, and I wasn't willing to risk it at the end there to try to go low. I just didn't have the confidence. I tried against Trevor earlier and almost wrecked him, and unfortunately got taken out later on. And, overall, I think a pretty good Bristol race. Hate it for, Alex and Jake, my teammates. They had issues there, but overall, I thought it was a pretty good race. Hopefully it was a good broadcast.
Yeah, definitely fun to watch. I mean, Bristol, is that one of your favorite tracks? I kind of feel like we've had some really good battles at Bristol, throughout the years. So, I mean, talk to me about your feeling about this track. I'm a high line guy myself. I can't really ever make the bottom work. But I feel like if you commit to that outside line, it's really strong. So, I mean, what is it just about Bristol that you love?
Yeah, I love that you got to use the pedals. Honestly, any short track and these Xfinity cars are a great match with that track. And I just love to have to work the car both on the wheel and the pedals. And um, I feel like I can use that to a strength as opposed to some of these, mile and a half where it's a little bit more, line dependent. Bristol, you can move around a little bit. But guys can make mistakes, and I think you can try to capitalize on that. And didn't have a whole lot of lap traffic tonight, but usually I love working my way through lap traffic and seeing how that kind of can affect the race. But yeah, just short track race, and I kind of grew up with it and just really enjoy it.
Well, second place finish here tonight. Definitely had a lot of speed. It was a lot of fun to watch you guys race up there. And as always, man, who you got to thank? Any sponsor shout outs?
Yeah, absolutely. You guys at V Speed, Eddie, I love the broadcast, everyone that works with you to make it happen. Right now, roofing the sponsor series. I'm so happy the car count we've been getting in this Xfinity series. So huge for them coming on this year as a partner. Jam Printing and Promotions, Veteran for Life Foundation, Cruising Classics, but I heard maybe there's a commercial tonight. Hopefully that went well. Not sure. And then Red Beard Design Company, as always.
Well, that commercial definitely went well. So
Yeah.
nice. I played it twice. All right,
Oh,
well there you
nice.
have
All
it.
right.
Second place finisher Ryan Pendleton, come up a little bit short, but still really fast here tonight. And let's go ahead and bring in last week's winner and your
Night.
third place finisher, Levi McCarty. Man, that 18 car looked really, really fast here tonight. A couple times you were really moving up using that bottom line. That Supra was hooked up there. Talk to me a little bit about how your car was handling and kind of the adversity of trying to get up to the front and try to get this win.
Yeah, I thought we were pretty good on the short run. We had that really long run there, and right in the middle of that run, I felt really good. Was running, I think I had a couple really good laps and made a couple of passes and made some time on Jacob. And then as it kind of went on, there were some guys behind me that either had a little bit better tires, did a better job saving them, or whatever. But they came up through and were able to get by me. I had two or three guys, and we got that caution, and yeah, I was able to go back and kind of lean on the short run speed and kind of figure out where I could push the car. And yeah, one thing that really helped me tonight was I went up on the brake bias, which is kind of a different strategy for me, but I definitely went up on it, and it really helped stabilize the car. When you were hitting the brake hard on entry to try to get the nose to turn, and I think it really helped me in the middle of that run. But I think I might overdrove just a little bit. Overall, I think probably fifth, sixth place speed tonight, and got lucky being able to restart on the top line behind Jacob there, and was able to salvage a podium out of it.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's still a lot of fun to watch, and we saw the 18 in a lot of battles, and Bristol just kind of gives you that. It's just a fun. It's really fast. It gives you a lot of excitement, and that 18 saw a lot of it tonight. Not playoff racing. You're kind of new to this series, but kind of talk a little bit about that. I mean, it's always a topic of discussion because leagues want folks to come and race even though they're not in the playoffs. But then there's also like these unwritten rules of like, well, you got to race playoff guys a little bit safer or whatever than you normally would. If it was in the regular season. Talk a little bit about that. What's your approach to that? Do you try to race everybody the same? Do you give a little extra to playoff drivers? How do you feel about that? Because you're here to win, man. That's what you're here to do.
It's definitely tough to balance the aggressiveness, because you got to be aggressive against these guys because they're really good, and if you're not, it's just you're not going to do any good. It's just how it is. But yeah, I just kind of try to pick and choose my spots. I've definitely as I'm racing, I'm thinking about who I'm around, and I don't want to get in the middle of any of these battles that these guys have going on for the championship, because I've been on the other side of that where late in the playoffs, you have somebody up there that gets into you just being just a dumb decision or being reckless, and it sucks to have that happen. So I'm definitely, my senses are definitely raised to that, and I'm doing my best with that, and also trying to have good finishes and win races here. So it all depends on the track usually, and kind of the temperature of the race. Tonight it was a little hot, but hey, I think tonight was okay
All
for
right.
myself.
Well, another good finish. Another top 3. Won last week, third tonight. So a good couple races for you, Levi. As always, man, who you got to thank?
Yeah. Thank you for doing the broadcast, V-Speed. I really am, like I said before, I'm really impressed with the quality of it, and it's really fun to go back and kind of relive the race. So I can't wait for that. Veterans for Life Foundation, Cruising Classics, Red Beard Design Company, and of course, obviously the sponsor that puts on the league, and we wouldn't be out here racing without them. Right Now Roofing, just a huge thanks to those guys for putting on the league, and then Jam Printing and Promotions as well. We appreciate all those guys, and I got to thank Fairfield Auto Group, Fairfield Motorsports, Fletcher for doing, hooking me up with some awesome paints whenever I want them, and I can come out here and kind of race. He's got a list of them for me that I can pick from, but I really appreciate that. And yeah, it's a fun league. I thank everyone for letting me come in and trusting that I am going to be careful around these guys. I really appreciate it. I can't wait till the next season, because I'll definitely be doing that from the start and trying to compete for a championship like these guys were tonight.
All righty. Well, there you have it. Levi McCarty. He'll definitely be a championship contender next season for sure. But a third place here tonight as we get ready to move on. As we're done with Bristol. Bristol's over. World fastest half mile oval. And we've got it in the book. So, man, what a great race. Yeah, looking forward to Michigan. We're going to have some tight battles. I mean, right now, Jacob Denson is locked in. Patrick Drabick started falling back. That caution really saved him as he was able to come back. And now he grabbed second place in the standings. Jacob Ellingson, with that 11-point boost, was able to hold on. He's sitting there just 1 point behind Patrick Drabick. And then Charlie Harcum, George Jewell, your top 5. Scott Pelt, 6. Chris Sawyer in 7th. All those guys having good runs. Trevor McManus, with those bonus points, was able to, even though he had a tough race towards the end, he's sitting there right at the cutoff, tied in 8th with Jamie Barkus. So that cutoff is going to be really tight next week. John Anthony, Alex Cruz, and Chance Taylor are the first 3 out. So going to be interesting next week. It's going to be, it's going to be well worth showing up for and watching. If you're just a viewer, come on, check that out. We'll have live points, all that kind of stuff, so we can keep track of it during the race. It's going to be a blast. So we'll see who are going to be the 8 drivers going into the next round. If you're Chance Taylor, you got to feel a little bit nervous being down there pretty far off of the cutoff line, but you just show up next week, kick everybody's butt, take the win, and you move on. So it's definitely possible. Everybody's got a shot, and can't wait to see it play it out. I want to thank Right Now Roofing for their sponsorship of this series. All of our sponsors, Jam Printing and Promotions, Veteran for Life, Cruising Classic, and of course Premier Setup for their sponsorship of VSRN and the Friday Night Truck Series, providing setups for them. They've been pretty incredible, so go check them out. All right, well, that's going to do it here at Bristol. Y'all have a great night. We'll see y'all next week. And tomorrow night, got on VSRN, we got the Moonshiners League. Martinsville, 200 and something laps. It's going to be crazy. So come out and check that out. If you're a Goat Locker, you're going to be racing the next gens. I'm not real sure exactly where, but should be fun on Nazareth 360. Good couple of nights all week. There's racing going on everywhere, so go check them out. All right, guys, we'll see you next time. Y'all have a good one.